Announcements for this morning. Reverend Amy is away from the office recovering from her knee surgery, rather successfully, I might add, and she'll be back on February 13th. If you have a pastoral care concern during this time, please email joysandconcerns@puuc.org. For other immediate concerns, please email BOT@puuc.org, and we'll get back to you. For any other concerns, so thank you. And for other important information about our vibrant community, please see your order of service, or if you're on our email list, please check your monthly newsletter and weekly announcements. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
Joy and grief, health and sickness, light and darkness, peace and anger, life and death, wholeness and brokenness. We each bring all of these here to this sanctuary of unity and diversity. For this 1 hour of this one day, of this 1 week, of this 1 month, of this year. And we pour those gifts out, commingling the light of our lives to become the flame of our chalice, the symbol of our shared living faith. Please join me in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith.
Yeah.
I invite you to please rise in body or spirit for our call to worship, followed by our opening hymn this morning. You whose hearts are broken, come in. You whom pain and sorrow and shock have touched. You who have cried this week and read the news with sadness. You whom loss has shadowed. You who grieve, come in. Come in. You with hearts open to joy and hope, come in. You whom love and friendship and wonder has touched. You who have laughed this week and felt gratitude for life's many blessings. You whom gifts are given in abundance. You who rejoice, come in. Come in. All our hearts at times are broken or whole. All of us here grieve and rejoice. This is our place. This is our hour to gather and sing and cry and laugh. Come in. Let us worship together. Please join me in singing 108.
Is this working? Yes, great. Good morning. At this time, I invite any children who are with us who would like to sit up here for our Time for All Ages. You're welcome to join us, or you can stay where you are seated. I know we have some visitors today. Well, I have a very exciting book for you today. It is called Out of a Jar by Deborah Marcero. I'm going to do my absolute best to read it while I hold this microphone. Yes, please. Doing a lot of balancing work. All right. Llewellyn loved scary books, scary jokes. Why didn't the skeleton cross the road? Why do you think the skeleton didn't cross the road? Oh, maybe lightning on the road? It says here, he didn't have any guts. And he loved scary cartoons. But Llewellyn did not like to be scared. He tried to put the feeling away, here, then there, but no matter what he did, it kept coming back. Finally, Llewellyn put his fear in a jar and found a place to lock it away. There it stayed. He didn't feel afraid anymore, and that was that. Not long after, Llewellyn felt sad. His best friend Max was laughing and sharing secrets without him. "Don't be glum, cheer up," someone said. So he put his sadness in a jar too. He locked it away, and that was that. Then, during music class, he got so excited. But he wasn't supposed to dance. He was supposed to listen. So he shoved his excitement in a jar too, and that was that. Anger, loneliness, joy, disappointment, he put them all in jars. And that, and that, and that was that. Soon he had so many jars filled with so many emotions that Llewellyn walked around not feeling much of anything at all. One day, Llewellyn was feeling inspired. Look at what he made. What does that look like? Dragon. But Max pointed and squealed with laughter. Eek! Dinosaurs don't have rabbit ears or butterfly wings. Llewellyn was so embarrassed, he tried not to show it. But that just made it worse. Of course, Llewellyn knew just what to do. He put his embarrassment in a jar. But there was a problem. There was no more room. Llewellyn tried to push and shove and shut his feelings away. Tears of frustration leaked out, and something rumbled deep inside of him. And suddenly, crack! All of those jars holding all of those feelings shattered. Every single feeling broke loose and pummeled Llewellyn with a stampede that turned him into a ragged heap of bunny on the floor. Buried at the bottom, fear was the last to leave. Once those feelings were out, something happened that Llewellyn didn't expect. He was happy and sad at the same time. He was excited and worried, but most of all, he felt relieved. So in the future, whenever Llewellyn was jubilant or embarrassed or upset, he didn't put away the feelings. Instead, he mustered up the courage to feel them, to share them, and when he was ready to look each feeling in the eye, give it a hug and let it go. And that really was that. So I have some questions for you about this book. What did Llewellyn do when he was feeling feelings he didn't want to feel? What did he do? He put them in a jar. Then what did he do with that jar? Where'd it go? Yeah, he put all of his feelings in jars, put those jars in a closet, locked all of those feelings away. And then they crashed. Why'd they crash open? Because they were strong feelings. That's right, Lizzie. So he had all these really strong feelings, and he wasn't feeling them anymore because he locked them away, and they burst open because you can't hide your strong feelings. If you try to hide your strong feelings to get away from them, what's going to happen? They're going to crack open. So how did Llewellyn feel after they cracked open? Yeah, what do you feel? He felt sad. What else did he feel? And excited, and he felt relief because he was able to feel all of his feelings. Have you ever felt a whole bunch of feelings all at once? Yeah? What'd that feel like in your body when you're feeling all of these feelings at once? Weird. It's kind of like I don't know what to do with my body. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my feet. For me, whenever I'm feeling a lot of really big feelings, they all come out as tears. I cry for everything. Happy, sad, angry. They're all tears. They all come out of my eyeballs as tears. It's true. Every doctor's appointment, even if nothing's wrong. I'm like crying all the time. But that's okay, because it's good to feel those feelings. It's not good to shut them away, because then they're not getting any attention. It's important to give those feelings the attention they deserve, recognize that you're having them, and share those feelings with other people so then you can give them a hug and send them away. So in our RE classroom today, we're going to be talking about a few different other stories. And so I invite you to join me across the hall. Of course, you are welcome to join us as well. You are also welcome to join us as well if you want. And we have some more stories to explore. Are you ready? Let's go.
One of my favorite parts of the service, and also least, you never know what they're going to say. Sometimes it's not what you think at all. This is the time in our service when we move into ritual and sacred sharing. A time for sharing our joys and sorrows, our concerns and milestones. First, this week, Elaine, if you could please light a candle for all those who have been affected by the deadly plane crashes that we've been hearing on the news in DC and Philadelphia and Alaska. For all those who continue to be impacted by the wildfires in California and Western North Carolina. For everyone impacted by Hurricane Helene and the ongoing recovery efforts. For the continued relief of the people in Gaza. We light a candle for all areas that are experiencing violence around the world, including Haiti, the Sudan, the Middle East, the Congo, and the ongoing war in Ukraine. And we light a candle for our country, that we may work towards creating a society filled with love, compassion, and justice for all people. At this time, you are welcome to come up and fill out a prayer card or drop a stone into our shared water or light your own candle of joy or concern. Elaine will help hand you the candle if you wish to light one. And I invite you to come forward and walk along the outer aisle next to the wall as we light those candles. we light a few more candles for those things that we hold in our hearts that remain unspoken, and for those who are joining us from elsewhere this morning to honor what is in their hearts as well. I invite you now into a time of quiet rest, meditation, or prayer, as we will follow the sound of the singing bowl into a moment of silence. After a moment of silence, we will have our musical meditation.
This morning's wisdom reading is entitled Evidence by Mary Oliver. Where do I live? If I had no address, as many people do not, I could nevertheless say that I lived in the small town where as the lilies of the field and the still waters. Spring, and all through the neighborhood now, there are strong men tending flowers. Beauty without a purpose is beauty without virtue. But all beautiful things inherently have this function: to excite the viewers towards sublime thought. Glory to the world, that good teacher. Among the swans, there is none called the least or the greatest. I believe in kindness, also in mischief, also in singing, especially when singing is not necessarily prescribed. As for the body, it is solid and strong and curious and full of detail. It wants to polish itself. It wants to love another body. It is the only vessel in the world that can hold in a mix of power and sweetness, words, song, gesture, passion, ideas, ingenuity, devotion, merriment, vanity, and virtue. Keep some room in your heart for the unimaginable. There are many ways to perish or to flourish. How old pain, for example, can stall us at the threshold of function. Still, friends, consider stone, that is without the fret of gravity, and water that is without anxiety, and the pine trees that never forget their recipe for renewal, and the female wood duck, who is looking this way and that way for her children, and the snapping turtle who is looking this way and that way also. This is the world. And consider always, every day, the determination of the grass to grow despite unending obstacles. I ask you again, if you have not been enchanted by this adventure, your life, what would do for you? And where are you? With your ears bagged down with packets of sand? Listen. We all have much more listening to do. Tear the sand away and listen. The river is singing. For myself, I have walked these woods for more than 40 years. And I'm the only thing, it seems, that is about to be used up. Or, to be less extravagant, will, in the foreseeable future, be used up. First, though, I want to step out into some fresh morning and look around and hear myself crying out, "The house of money is falling. The house of money is falling. The weeds are rising. The weeds are rising."
You all are part of my beloved community. Your support has been especially meaningful and helpful to me during some of the most important and challenging times of my life. I pride myself on being my most honest and authentic with you. I believe that as members of the clergy, it is our purpose to inspire those we are in service to. Whether it's at their bedsides as chaplains, on the pavement as community ministers, or from behind the pulpit as congregational leaders. Wherever we are called to serve is where we are called to lead and inspire others. But what happens when we ourselves, as clergy members, just aren't feeling it? Because right now, friends, I'm struggling. Our shared Unitarian Universalist values calls us to recognize the interdependence of all living beings, to seek justice and transformation, to be generous and equitable, while all focusing on love, which is at the core of those values. But friends, it's hard to do so when daily we are beset by those who wish to strip us of our shared humanity, to do unjust by us, those who want to transform our nation and the world around us into something unrecognizable that is centered on isolation and hate. I often find myself wondering where my place is in this beautiful tradition of ours when I am filled with righteous indignation and sacred rage, finding it hard to love others who hate so much, and finding it hard to see their humanity in return. After the results of the election in November, I was left utterly baffled. The unkind smugness of neighbors in person and on my social media, I took a step back to catch my breath. I participated in and led listening circles. Some of you were a part of that. And I still felt in a state of disbelief. People were feeling the same as I was, and yet they were looking to me to be a voice of compassion and reason, when at the time, I felt like I had neither. After the inauguration in January and the weeks that have followed, there have been a roller coaster of emotions. Some days I feel anger and hatred and a desire to take to the streets and burn it all down. But then some days I feel fearful and sad, and I grieve the losses that this election has had on me. Living in the rural South, my community, my neighborhood, even in my family of origin, I no longer feel safe, feel validated, or feel as if my worth and dignity are significant. I no longer feel like my lived experience and my voice as a survivor, as a person who lives in a differently abled body, as a woman in liberal ministry, that I'm enough. Some days are a real struggle. Over the past several months, I've been rereading my library, revisiting books and stories that comforted me, books that I already own or have in my possession. It's my thought that each time you revisit something that you've already read, you absorb something new from it that perhaps you didn't the first or second time. There are lots of books on poetry and self-love, on crafting and powerful women in history. Perhaps just a snapshot into my mind. In the past couple of weeks, I reread Sonia Renee Taylor's The Body Is Not an Apology, and that got me fired up, even more. So then I decided to read a collection of poems by Mary Oliver. My fire had been reignited to stop apologizing for my body, my mind, and my spirit. Stop apologizing for taking up space in this world and for merely existing in a political state of turmoil that I no longer recognize. I felt like the poems would be a good juxtaposition, hoping it would have a nice calming effect on my already hyper-intense emotional state of being. I needed to remind myself of small, tangible joys, and Mary Oliver is a means to do that. Each day, the news presents us with opportunities to question what is sane. Joy is an invaluable tool to have in normal times, but friends, we are not in normal times. So joy becomes even more important when it's hard to find something to be joyful for. As Taylor reminds us, the definition for radical itself means going to the origin, changing the accepted or traditional forms, favoring drastic political, economic, or social reforms, forming a new foundation, and existing inherently in a thing or person. The word radical becomes a catalyst for change in how we see our world. By claiming radical and partnering it with joy, we are then able to transform joy into an act that defies the norm in not so normal times. Transform joy into something beyond what it usually is understood to be. Transform joy into an act of bravery and defiance, and at the same time, use it to help us calm our nervous system, to unite us as a people of justice, for justice, to help us seek truth and understanding, when we are fed mistruths and the understanding of those that are in power, to use joy as an act of love in the face of hate. Joy becomes an act of rebellion while at the same time an act of self-love. Joy in these days feels like a radical act of resistance. When my body and my mind are overwhelmed by things that are out of my control, having control over how I wish to expend my energy becomes an act of rebellion. I believe in kindness, also in mischief, also in singing, especially when singing is not necessarily prescribed. When I start to see my joy as radical joy, it transforms into something that no government, no political party, no man or men can rob me of. I can see the sky from wherever I am. I can hear the birds from wherever I am. I can smell a campfire or fresh baked goods or a shift in the weather from wherever I am. I can feel the wind on my face, the cold in my hands, the wet grass under my feet from wherever I am. Consider the determination of the grass to grow despite the unending obstacles. These small things become large when one focuses on them, and they grow and grow and grow. These small things become radical things that inspire and incite change that empowers us to use our voices. Consider stone that is without the fret of gravity, and water that is without anxiety, and the pine trees that never forget their recipe for renewal. Joy then transforms into challenging the status quo, to love our neighbors more than they love us, to stand in their faces with our fists and jaws unclenched, and to say, "You will not rob us of our ability to speak out. You will not rob us of our ability to fight. You will not rob us of our ability to unite. You will not rob us of our ability to find joy wherever, however, whenever we can." When we find ourselves questioning our place, like I have many times over the past several weeks, joy brings us back to ourselves, to our people, and to this earth. It connects us. It grounds us. It helps us transform our righteous indignation into protest and justice, transform our sacred rage into change and awareness, transform us from being overwhelmed towards a place of greater peace. And let me remind us all that radical joy is a practice. And no one is striving for perfection, because perfectionism is a symptom of white male supremacy, another mistruth that we have been fed by the powers in control to remain in control, because as long as we spend our energy on trying to be perfect, we have less energy to see what's happening around us. Where are you? With your ears bagged down as with packets of sand. Listen. We all have much more listening to do. Tear the sand away and listen. The river is singing. So we use joy as a radical act to keep us in tune with our bodies, with our communities, with our earth, so we can see with clear hearts and minds the reality of what is happening around us. As for the body, it is solid and strong and curious and full of detail. It is the only vessel in the world that can hold a mix of power and sweetness. Keep room in your heart for the unimaginable. I'm not asking us to deny our anger or grief. I'm asking us to hold joy with it. Because it's though joy will bring us through and help us find a way back to love. May it be so, and amen.
Thank you, Anne. Let there now be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. This month, we're sharing our offering plate with Blueprint NC. Blueprint NC works toward inclusive, anti-racist democracy rooted in civic engagement through movement, building, and mobilization. We ask that you place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room. And of course, you're always welcome to give online at puuc.org or by texting the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
As always, we give greatness to the gifts contained within this basket and for the gifts that you offer this beloved community. Now let us rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Before we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks for the many volunteers who helped make our worship service possible. We also ask that before you leave today, to please place your hymnals back on the cart near the piano. Let us take a moment to give thanks, either in our hearts or with our words out loud, for the things in life for which we are thankful today. I invite you to name some of your gratitudes out loud. I asked Jason, I said, is it too angry? He said, it's not angry enough. And I was like, if Jason's saying that, then that says something. I know.
Joy.
Joy.
Radical.
Absolutely. Radical joy.
I'm grateful I'm a heretic.
Because that said she's grateful she's a heretic for those who are joining online. Finding the things that we can change, absolutely.
And I'm grateful for the love in this room.
Grateful for the love in this room.
Grateful for the visitors who are here with us today.
Grateful for our visitors who are here today. Thank you. For Reverend Amy, yes. So hear this blessing. I breathe in the warmth of the light that we have shared here today. May its glow fill the spaces where fear and doubt reside. I breathe out the tension that I carry, and I release what no longer serves me. I breathe in the strength of our community, a sanctuary of diverse voices and shared purpose. And I breathe out the urge to go it alone, and I embrace the power of togetherness. I breathe in the courage to speak truth even when it trembles on my lips. And I breathe out the silence that holds me back. I make space for honesty and justice. I breathe in the hope of transformation, knowing we are here to build and to heal. And I breathe out despair, trusting that change is born in small acts of love. May each breath remind us of the sacred rhythm of life, the pulse of creation, and the power we hold to shape the world around us. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, and create peace wherever we wander. May it be so. For our closing hymn, we often make a circle and hold hands if you want, but it's flu season, so you can simply just hold your heart, and we will sing, We Give Thanks.